for well over an hour. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, Michael. Maybe you can tell us what's in the future for you and Billy Meier. I know that you're working on a movement over in Europe now to try and get this information out to a number of schools and universities.
Well, it's a nice idea. I have to, try to get that done. It's hard because trying to penetrate into regular academia is difficult. I'll just be honest with you.
Yeah.
They have a difficulty, but I do my blog. We've got the comic strip, and believe me, they should be paying a lot of attention in Europe because this is going to affect them when this asteroid hits if something isn't done about it. And there's different countries that are expressing interest. People in a lot of countries. I've had people from 138 countries visit my website, millions of people from all these countries. And they start thinking about this, and they start taking it. And, it's a slow process that is going to evolve over time. And it just pops up. Speaking of other countries, I have an article about this up on the site. When Billy was in India in 1964, he was studying Buddhism at an ashram there. And one of the things that happened, is that he got interviewed in 1964 by a reporter for the paper called the New Delhi Statesman. Now, why would that be important? Well, it's super important because this man described some of the photos that Meier showed him of UFOs in 1964. And one of the photos, which isn't of a UFO, one of the photos, and this is how he describes it in his article, which we post up in this. We had his newspaper article on this article online. He describes some of these, one is a globular object with a round disc in the center, another is funnel shaped, a third is like a neon lamp, a fourth is a big, bright cross. Huh? Now, just so you'll know, when you scroll down the page, there's a lot more information. And then you see some of the photos that Meier took of UFOs in India at the ashram there. And there's also information. There's one photo that's got like 8 of them. And there's information here from Pobal Cheng, the now retired UN diplomat who was there and saw all this stuff. But you go down to the bottom, we have a photograph of the bottom corner of one of Billy's private personal photo albums. And there in the binder from 1964, taken on an old Kodak's Bello camera, in broad daylight is Billy Meier sitting on the ground with his legs crossed, and there's a huge white cross floating in the sky, in the clouds above him, in the middle of nowhere in India. Now, this reporter described that. He saw that. We have that photograph. It's in our film. That's how come it's here. We went and filmed his private album where he's got a lot of photos from his travels in the Middle East and everything like that. Here he's sitting on the ground, and there's a white cross, a holographic projection in the sky above his head. Now, somebody tell me how in 1964, in the middle of nowhere in India, this guy is creating special effects worthy of Steven Spielberg and casually sticks the photo. This is never shown publicly before, apart from showing it to that reporter.
Very, very strange, Michael. There's just like the amount of data and photographic evidence, video evidence. There's actually some trace evidence. There's so much stuff to analyze and look at. And, like you said, there's 26,000 plus pages of information related to Billy. There's all kinds of technical analysis that you can bury yourself deep in. There seems to be a lot more going on here in the story of Billy Meier. The whole platform of this show, for all you folks out in Radio Land, is for you to decide what the real story is or what the real story isn't, or if there, even if we're in a true reality at all. So I want to thank you, Michael Horn, for coming on. You're busy. You're always plugging away. I have to ask you a question, though. You're a good-looking dude, and I've seen pictures of you from decades ago, and I've seen pictures of you recently, not to make light of the situation, but Is it possible that you're so convinced that these contacts are real because perhaps you are a Plejaran?
Well, let's put it this way. I'm not a Plejaran. I'm an Earth person. And like other Earth people, literally tens of millions of people incarnate on this planet who originally, their former personalities may well have come from other worlds as space travelers. But when you're living on this world here and now, you're an Earth person. And these things may resonate more with certain people. I'm not the only one, that is curious or delves into it. And a lot of the people that do get highly attracted to this, there's a high probability that they did have lifetimes long, long, long ago connected to these people or other extraterrestrials. And so something awakens in them that draws them back to this information. But make no mistake, nobody is going to have any, special perks out of it. There's no ETs are going to meet with anybody or take them anywhere, and it doesn't make anybody special. Billy Meier is the most remarkable human that ever lived, in my opinion. I've met with him over a 12-year period, and he is simply the most grounded human being I've ever met, who knows more about more earthly things and agriculture, botany, biology, physics, and yet he is, quote-unquote, a simple Swiss farmer. So we may have connections to other things, but our task is here with this very troubled world now. And what would really make us special is if we help to solve the problems here. We could then give ourselves gold stars.
Yeah. Well, I think we can start by asking you what your fountain of youth is, because you don't seem to age a day after all these years. You're still youthful, full of interesting information for the rest of the world to look into and decide what the true reality is here on planet Earth as human beings and as a member of a galactic community. Mr. Michael Horn, always studious. Thanks for being on Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast, The Unified Field.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And that was Mr. Michael Horn on The Unified Field. We were really glad to have him. He, of course, is the authorized American spokesperson, media representative for Billy Meier, the senior gentleman in Switzerland who has been having extraterrestrial contact, quote unquote, for it must be about 6 decades now. And he was a really, really fantastic guest. And, I spoke to him after the interview, just, mano a mano, after our conversation, and I said, there have been a lot of people who have said you're super opinionated and it's either your opinion or the highway. And I said, but this experience has been really great. So I really appreciated having him on the program. So it was nice for you guys to hear the story of Billy Meier and make your own call about the type of guy that Michael Horn is. Good guy in my books. Everyone has their own opinion. I think maybe he comes off a little strong, could be a little bit more diplomatic, but you heard it from him. He's tried that route. It doesn't work for him. Everything is relative, right? Well, I want to thank you all for being here on Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast. Don't forget to check out the blog spot at unifiedfieldradio.blogspot.com for all your show notes and musical track listings. We're also on Twitter. Follow us there at Unified Field Rad. And, of course, all the archives go up on YouTube and MySpace, generally about a month after the episode airs live. And don't forget, it is also on Eastlink 851 if you want to listen to that live on your digital cable here locally. The signal is a lot more clear than you're going to hear on the radio. We're also now on iTunes, which is great. The new Blog Talk feed on Sunday nights, the day after the show, bi-weekly. I do a little half-hour stepping stone platform on Blog Talk Radio, and it's really great. Tune in Atlantic Standard Time, 7:30, and you can call in and talk to me there about all your questions or concerns or past programming or future programming. Log on to blogtalkradio.com and search for the Unified Field. Also on YouTube, we're on YouTube, of course, but on iTunes, check us out, Unified Field Radio. And now I'm in the works with CKDU of putting all of the archives up there. There should be about 15 episodes and more to come going up online soon on iTunes. So thanks for all of you for being here. Thanks to all of you. Contact me at unifiedfieldradio@gmail.com if you've got comments, questions, or experiences you want to share with the rest of the world, or perhaps just to get it off your chest. I'm your host, Mr. Justin Brown. Keep your eyes on the sky, and you may just be surprised. It may expand you into the infinite, or shrink you down to size. Good night.